Greetings, people. Today I'm going to be looking at realistic terrain gen, and I'm going to be taking a detailed look at jungles. And I'm going to be comparing the RTG jungles in 1.0.1 to the regular vanilla jungles in 1.7.10. And just to let you know, I'm using the same seed. It is one of the giant seeds from the seed thread that is huge jungles. Both setups were kind enough to give me a river right by my start. The RTG river is a little different than the vanilla river. And the RTG world also gave me a village by my start. The glowstone is where I spawned in this world. Being a jungle, of course, it means on top of a tree. Now, one of the things that I want to look at is the ground. Oh, this is bad. One second, please. Now, jungles, unlike all of the other terrain in Minecraft, really are cloggy. The ground is kind of cluttered. And one of the things that I want to do is I want to show you what the terrain actually looks like. So I brought along a handy little tool that's designed to, as I said, one of the things I want to show you is the landscape. And I can't do that as long as the landscape is cluttered with oak leaves everywhere. So one bedrock axe later, and we can see what the vanilla ground looks like. And other than the littered bits of jungle wood with the oak leaf toppings, we can see the ground is pretty much accessible. It's a little hilly. Is this an oak tree? No, it's a jungle tree. And when it gets to the point of can't tell what's going on and where we are, we find another jungle tree. I'm sorry, another oak tree. And clear out some more space. So this is what a vanilla jungle looks like. Now I have a bit of a mixed view at this point, mixed feelings at this point. On one hand, I want to be able to show you the terrain, and you can't really see much of the terrain very well unless you're up in the air. But too much time in the air and you don't notice, see, observe all the steps and such. But this is what vanilla jungle looks like. And give me a second and I'll whack another section. Vanilla jungle has good amounts of flat spaces. Punctuated with the occasional hill. And now I'm in a jungle hills section over here. So over here is the jungle hills section. So let's go and take a look at what jungle hills looks like. And there's a jungle M over there to check out next. So along the coast over here is a vanilla jungle hills. And we see why it's called Jungle Hills in this area. So the regular jungles tend to be flattish with small hills. The jungle hills are much more extreme on the height variation in hills. Ooh, and of course the extreme height extreme. Over here is the Jungle M section. I know that some people like to think that the M's refer to mountains. They're actually more accurately considered as mutants. Most of the mutants are mountainous in the sense of hilly. I'm not sure that the jungles qualify as that. Find out in a second. And here I am back in a hills. The hills over here is actually more... Oh, there is M and hills intermingled in this area. All right. Where is the M? So let's head over into this area and this is river. No, this is Jungle M. Or this is river. Okay. So let's take a look at the terrain in the M. I'd say that the M is hilly, but not quite as sharp of a hill as the Jungle Hills is. Note that with all that axe cleaving, it's barely made a dent in the trees. The the oak, wood, and leaf undercurrent is cleared up, but the jungle trees are still all over the place. But you can tell where the darker oak wood is because it's been cleared out. So now let's take a look at the RTG world. First off, I got lucky. RTG gave me a river right where I'm starting. Secondly, it gave me a village right where I'm starting. Third, RTG's oak trees in the jungle are a little more involved than the vanilla ones. First off, RTG generates a fair amount of podzol on the ground in its jungles. Secondly, you've got these wonderful 3- and 4-pronged oak trees branching out. It actually seems like the RTG Jungle is harder on my video card than the vanilla jungle is. Surprise, surprise. Now this is an interesting section. RTG does not generate overhangs, so this has to be a vanilla caving node. But if it's a caving node, how did it get the podzol on the ground, as well as all of the other RTG decorations down here? But there is definitely a lot more oak leaves. Oops, that's not the right wood. There we go. There is definitely a lot more oak wood and oak trees and overall oak coverage in here. The ground is still on the hilly side. If anything, the trees are more impenetrable than the normal vanilla jungles. All right, so here's Jungle Hills and Jungle M across the river over here. Give me a moment while I see what I can do to make this faster. So this over here, not sure what this is at the moment. Just spotted this. This is still in the jungle. Still well within the jungle. And look at this. A giant rock face of chunk lag. This is not worldgen. I pre-genned the terrain. This is reload. By the way, here is the seed for this world. I probably should have listed that earlier. It will be listed in the description. Well, when realistic terrain generation decides to make a jungle hill, it really makes a jungle hill. There is a cactus on red sand. There's a cactus on red sand on the top of the hill. That definitely falls into the was not expecting that category. So we are at 116 at the top of the hill. 116 is the foot level area over there. And the hill goes all the way down to actually, here is the stone side of the hill. This is a real jungle mountain, jungle hill, jungle mutant.
15.
Oh yes. One other thing that I've noticed is that the trees grow a little differently here. Note that they actually curve. I have seen some trees that curve even more than this. Stone, cobblestone, coal, of course, because it's above ground, or above sea level, I should say. And cyan-stained clay. I am familiar with the hollow hills of the Twilight Forest, and I'm wondering if there is something similar to that hidden in these things, or if this is just an ordinary cave. Well, it might be a little more dirt than normal, but it appears to be just an ordinary cave. I was thinking maybe they had snuck a hollow hill or something like that inside their giant mountains. But it would appear to just be a cave system. All right. Coming back out. That giant hill has been exposed. Yes, RTG generated a fallen oak log, fallen oak tree. So this hill runs from basically river level all the way up. It's got a shallow grass and podzol base and a steeper cobblestone and cyan clay. I was hoping at first to find something like either a hollow hill or something like a vanilla temple, but no, it just appeared to be normal. The hill mound actually continues over to a second one over here that I did not dig out. But all in all, doesn't really seem to be much of anything. This looked like it might be something until it turned out to be just a giant cave node on exploration. This was an unexpected bonus to find inside of realistic terrain generation. A giant jungle hill as part of either Jungle Hills or Jungle M. I'm not sure which. As you can see, both biome types are in the area. Continuing on. And here is the other end of the other one. As I said, there's both Jungle Hills and Jungle M in this area. And it looks like there's another one over here. Dang. I actually was not aware that RTG could give this steep of a cliff face. Equally note that a river can run through a giant mountain structure and act like it's carved out. That's nice to know. So here we see this hill. And here we have a regular vanilla jungle temple. Okay, it's torched. Okay, so these things are all over the place. We have the village hidden in the leaves. Remember, people, keep the villagers in mind. If your bedrock axe destroys their farms, clean it up. Put some wood down for them. Thank you. This has been a public service announcement. So, an ordinary jungle hills seems to look pretty much like this. It's not too bad once you've cleared out all the brush. And then down to the river. Jungle Hills does not seem to have the giant stone caps, so that is probably Jungle M being treated as mountain. And of course these giant, massive, multi-limbed oaks. Much better. I said that one of the things I wanted to do was compare the actual ground of a vanilla jungle to an RTG jungle. So here is a vanilla jungle that has been cleared of enough stuff so you can actually see the ground. Note there's a couple of spots where the ground level goes low enough for actual water. So in addition to the whole trees everywhere, you still have these occasional hill thingies, even in plain jungle, not jungle hills. And I'm going to try to keep my facing north-ish so you can see what I'm looking at. The ground height in vanilla jungles is really uneven. The difficult to navigate is only partially because of the ground, trees, and everything, but also because of this uneven landscape. And over here we run into a jungle hills. Or no, more jungle. Again, the northward view. Very uneven ground. Low enough to be water. Low enough for squids. And note this is jungle, not jungle hills. That little spot is a strange cave entrance. Big, giant, and goes nowhere. And vanilla worldgen has these overhangs. So this is your vanilla worldgen in jungles with the trees removed. And north over here. No, there's the jungle hills at the north end. All right. Again, facing north as I head south. Trying to keep things easy to follow on the mini-map in the corner. Showing the landscape. In comparison, here is the realistic terrain generation jungle. The hills on the side are all jungle hills. The ground itself is actually smoother and flatter. There is still low water. Now this over here is another example of something which, as far as I can tell, is a cave node that's still got ground decorations. I am not sure how that even works. I thought, as I said, I was under the impression that, well, that didn't happen. Yes, that is a grass block in the air. No, I don't know how it happened. It was part of the worldgen. This is a terrain gen that is supposed to not even be possible to have overhangs or gaps like this. So I don't know what happened, how, or why. But RTG jungles, the ground is actually much easier to travel once it is cleared, but the trees on the ground are much denser. Now, in both vanilla and RTG, there's a lot more animals in the jungle than I had previously thought. They're all trapped in the trees and leaves on the ground. They're there. I just never realized just how much they were there. And where did the block of sand come from? So RTG has these giant jungle M mountains, regular jungle hills, and flat jungle. And these river systems, it's a very interesting river fork. Finally, as I show an overview of the RTG area. And keep in mind my river frequency for RTG is set to 2.5 times the default. I want to show you, in closing, one little section of river that I found truly interesting. Just imagine boating along and seeing these leaves the other way. Vanilla trees really don't generate the way these guys do. On one hand, an RTG river can actually be traveled by boat, but on the other hand, all these lily pads. And I'm still trying to ask myself, why is there cyan-stained clay in the mountains? I mean, I can understand that it looks visually nice, but it's like, why isn't it? And I know there isn't a cyan-stained stone or dark stone in vanilla. It just feels odd. All right, so that is a look at jungle generation in RTG versus vanilla. Enjoy.